We're back on the show here. It's Armchair QB. We're back.
Again.
I'm your host. Still the host.
You are?
I think.
Can I fire you?
I'm Mike Devine.
I guess I could fire you.
Wait, no, that's your name.
I'm Mike Devine. You're Bill Reed. You're the Armchair QB. It's your show.
Who's this guy?
This is Murph, the Magic Tone.
What's best there is.
Everybody?
And if you don't know what a Magic Tone is, well, dude, I'm just not going to tell you.
The best there is. The best there was.
The best there ever will be.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you very
That's
much.
what he says. How you doing, Murph?
Good. How are you fellas doing?
Man,
You got a silky smooth radio voice, you know
he
that?
does. And we talk about that all the time in the most heterosexual way possible, by the way.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean,
It's me.
It is a good radio. I mean, literally, it feels like that good, like,
I know.
it's like the butter to the toast. It just fills in all the cracks. And
Paul Keels.
yeah, man. That's good, brother. We took a little break last week, didn't we?
We take a break a lot.
Well, I mean, technically, you were gone for the weekend.
Well, you have to understand, though, I'm a man of leisure.
Well,
So I have things going on.
I guess. I mean, well, we went on, you know, on location on Friday before for Gray Matters, you know, but then you were gone over the weekend, so we had to skip a week, and I'm sure people are angry. But the thing is, we're back and better because we got video now, so people can actually listen or they can watch us, which I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing.
What if we have faces made for radio? I like how you look at the monitor.
I can actually look at it.
Like you don't know what we look like.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, we're gonna get some. I mean, you and I were talking about like how. See, the cool thing is like we want to do a lot with video, and so audio. I got some dope stuff, right? But audio, you can do really good stuff on a good budget. Video, totally. We talked for an hour, probably earlier in the week about hey, what can we do? And it's like.
What can we do?
There's no easy way around it. So we're starting off slow. So we got a good little camera to kind of do a little wide view and see all of us. But hopefully we'll get a little more. But then you're right. Then it might be like, maybe we should do like, not exactly HD cameras. So if it's like up close going, oh God, like I look old.
Enough time goes by, we can have like female mud wrestling in the studio or something like that.
I mean,
that's something crazy.
I think we need all like matching shirts.
Matching shirts? Do we?
I think we need more swag.
Like a logo.
I think we do. I think we do need
like
shirts, mugs,
just something.
Yeah,
just
like
something.
logos everywhere. Maybe like a strobe light that has like a floating armchair QB.
I didn't know who Dude Perfect was until last week.
Really?
How'd you not know, Dude Perfect?
I don't know.
My
boy told me.
Tell me about it. What was
I just said they do like trick shots all the time, and
yeah.
I'm like, really?
He's like, Dad, can you do that? And you're like, no.
He like knows their names and stuff.
Now the thing is, like,
know how to touch.
Now if we were doing like the armchair QB and we have video, are we technically being posers if we don't have a single armchair in here?
Mike D, that's some deep shit.
I'm almost thinking because our studio the way it is right now.
You want to see me in a recliner?
We got the low budget.
Just come to my house.
Low budget.
I think we should. I mean, because now eventually, so our studio is in our the basement of the Great, right? And so eventually, the way they did the people lived here previously, they kind of like separated it weird. So we want to do a wraparound, and I want to have like the studio part like solely separate back there. I think we all need armchairs, lazy boys. For our seats.
Being an armchair QB,
nice.
though.
I think we should. Because this should be living room furniture. I mean, it's technically what it is.
But being an armchair QB, I mean, it's a frame of mind. It's a mental state. I mean, the reason why we call it what we do is because, hindsight's 20/20. We've said this many times on the show, and that's what we do. We talk about sports and stuff like that. Oh, I would have done this, or I would have pulled that pitcher in the 8th inning versus the 9th. And it's all great in theory to look back and say that you know everything, but we kind of know everything. So
if I got an armchair, you wouldn't sit in it?
I suppose I would sit in it.
It better vibrate.
Or at least one. At least you have to have an armchair.
I just told you I'm literally a man of leisure. So
I think so. I think we at least need one for the host.
Okay.
I think for you, we need one.
All right.
So
we'll look into that for next show.
Yeah, I can produce that.
I
can produce that. Yeah.
You sound like George Costanza. I can have Keith Hernandez here within the hour.
So what do we got tonight,
Well,
man? We've been gone 2 weeks. There's a lot to catch up on. What do we got on docket for tonight?
I think everyone's favorite's going on, preseason football.
Yeah.
How you feel about your teams this year? You got an Eagles fan, we got a Niners fan. I feel good as a Bears fan. I'm feeling pretty confident this year. I
wouldn't.
You wouldn't. Yeah,
I wouldn't.
Yeah, you wouldn't. How do you, Mike? Let's start with you, the Eagles man. And what are you thinking? Just kind of your snap judgment. I know it's
so.
early.
I like our team.
You like him?
I like it.
Playoffs?
The thing I like about it, I mean, I can go off the roster and everything. Like, okay, I like how our roster looks, right? But yeah, roster, I'm really going off of the mentality because that team begins and ends with Carson Wentz, right? And the thing that I love about Carson Wentz this year is that, so the thing I hate about McNabb is that anytime anyone said anything bad about him, he'd always just like, that's not true, and would like basically never own it, right? So that report came out over the winter about some teammates were basically saying that he wasn't exactly a good teammate. The injury kind of messed with him. There seemed like there was maybe a little uneasiness with the whole with the whole Foles and Wentz thing. And so instead of just going, well, you know, I don't know if that's true, it's fake news, he was like, dude, no, I probably haven't been the greatest of teammates. I really struggled with the injuries. It was really tough watching the guy take my team, you know, to the Super Bowl. Sure. I mean, he owned up to it, right?
Where's he at?
He's Jacksonville Foles. He got signed with them.
Damn,
yeah,
good for him though.
Yeah, oh yeah, dude, it was awesome, right? And so he off season, he said he changed his diet up. He talked to like Tom Brady and all these guys about what they're doing. Changed his diet up, lost like a lot of weight. I think he saw a sports psychologist because he was talking about how he's in the best place mentally and physically.
How old is he?
25. Oh,
that's
26. Yeah, and so I mean, he's smiling. They say he's very laid back. I mean, that team is his. Just tonight they do. It's called Flight Night, and so they go to the link. Only the Eagles could do this, by the way. On a team scrimmage, there's like 40,000 people show up just to watch that.
Did they boo the entire team? Like
No, but it was awesome. Like, so they showed this video, and so he's walking into the stadium, and everyone is cheering. I'm talking like the fans, and so he's trying to walk out, be cool, and then this giant grin breaks out on his face, right? And I mean, this is that was. Philly is we got a lot of shit. We're a good football team, and that was them saying you're our quarterback regardless. And he was smiling, and then they showed Deshaun Jackson, who first time back with the team this year. He got traded in the offseason, and he knows Philly, right? And you see him kind of pointing to the crowd like, this is your team, man. This is you. And as a psychologist, you kind of pick up on that lane, and I'm like, he's back mentally. He wasn't there last year, and so I'm looking at that going, I think we're going to make a run at it. I think we'll be in the Super Bowl. I really do. Okay. I think Wentz is going to win the Super Bowl this year. I think it's going to be like one of those. I think we'll be like a 13-3. I think a 12-4. I think we'll get home field advantage. I think Wentz is going to get league MVP. We'll be in the Super Bowl and we're going to win it.
Just cross your fingers.
Literally,
your QB can stay healthy all season.
Yeah, I think he will. I mean, he's made all the right changes, and they're saying he's not in practice. He hasn't even tried running yet. Yeah. He's passing. He's protecting himself. He's trying to play more like Russell Wilson. Uses mobility to buy time. So, I mean, everything starts when you play, but I really think if Wentz is where I think he is, I think we're going to be a very tough team to beat.
Murph, what do you think? You think he's on point with the Eagles there, or do you think? I mean, that sounds realistic.
I mean, they're going to be a tough team.
Yeah, they're going to be a tough team. I think it'll be playoff.
They're no slouches.
Yeah, the playoff. I think they'll.
Goddamn right, we're no slouches.
Yeah. I mean,
Mike, you're a hell of a slouch. Don't put yourself down.
I'm a tremendous slouch.
Who you got to contend with? The Giants and
Chicago, my team.
Yeah,
no, I mean their conference.
Conference. Dude, Jimmy G is gonna. I think he stays healthy, man.
We'll see.
Do you like him?
I hate the Patriots because they always make their quaradbacks look
they
good.
Re-sign.
And they go somewhere else and they look like
Brady
shit.
got an extension yesterday.
Matt Castle
2 days ago.
Yeah.
I mean, do you like Jimmy G? I mean, he was playing decent before he got injured.
He started dating that porn star.
I don't know.
She got him off his game, and I think his head.
I think the word's still out on him.
Really?
He's got good talent. It's just a matter of, you have to have good talent around you.
Yeah.
How many games he played for the 49ers? Like 5?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, I don't think he played that many.
Dozen,
he didn't play that many.
So you don't know. Just because he looks good with the Patriots for like 5 or 6 games.
I could look good with the Patriots, for at least a few games. Or at least maybe a few snaps.
What do you think their record's going to be? What do you think they'll finish up at?
For the Niners?
Yeah.
I think they'll miss the playoffs.
If he stays healthy, yeah. I see
that's everybody healthy, miss the playoffs?
Yeah. I see the Niners. If I had to make a snap judgment, I'm going to say about a 500 team. Okay, that's just my.
I mean, they do have Nick Bosa, but that's one guy.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. With one guy, you can double team him. So
no confidence. Wow.
Well, I think my team, Chicago. I see
double doink.
I see the double doink.
Did you get your throwback jersey?
Like
yet?
the first episode we ever did of this show.
Yeah, that was that night.
Was it the
Yeah,
first episode?
that was like one of those nights where, yeah, you were not happy.
The game had just ended, the playoff game against the Eagles, Chicago. The double doink for the kicker. Mike's like, so how's that feel right now? I'm like, not too good, buddy. Not too good. Thanks for asking, though. He's like, oh, anyway, we're going to go live in 3, 2, 1. I'm just like, welcome to the show.
That was awesome.
I know.
You're so
I'm like,
you're so angry.
How can you not be angry?
Yeah.
I mean,
I would have
Yeah.
been angry. I just would have accepted it.
Make Chicago hungry this year. Hungry for blood.
I mean, Nagy's a good coach, man.
I know.
I'm still not. I don't know. Trubisky, Marty Trubisky. I don't really. I don't know.
He had a good year last year. Trust me, I had my doubts too. When they drafted him, I was like, maybe. I was cautiously optimistic. I was like,
It reminds like him and Daniel Jones are gonna be like the same type of quarterback.
I was just gonna say Daniel
they come
Jones.
across like the same
He wasn't quite as bad as the
Went
Daniel.
to the same school, didn't they?
Duke.
Oh, Duke and North Carolina.
Duke
I
and
knew
North
they're both
Carolina.
blue, yeah,
Um,
both shitty football schools.
They're not
I
really.
mean, it was
Hey,
awesome. You know?
Trubisky should have went to Ohio State. by
At
the
least,
way.
at least with Duke.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
he was gonna play here.
Oh, wow.
But
At least with Duke. I mean, Duke's a smart school. I mean, North Carolina's no slouch, but Duke, you can't be a dumbass.
How can
and
they
at
be so
Duke.
good at basketball but not at football?
Again, I think it's because it's a academic school, and I mean,
So you're saying you can't be smart and play football? You can be smart and play basketball.
no, I'm saying, I'm
What
saying,
What are you saying, Bill?
yeah, what are you saying?
That shit sounds racist.
what?
Bigot, racist bigot.
Damn it!
I'm sorry.
I was just saying
I
Duke
think-
was a
I think
smart
I-
school.
I
That's
think
all
I
I was
heard.
saying.
That's how easy it happens. So.
Remember in the movie Orange County when the guy was like, hey, "Remember when I applied to Stanford as a joke?"
I got
He
it.
was like, I got in.
I love that movie.
I know. Oh shit!
I love preseason though, man. It's the shittiest time of football, but you're so excited for. It's like there's Eddie Murphy was in Delirious where he's talking about like if you're, he's kind of mentioning how like if you haven't had sex for a while, like any little sex is amazing. And he used like a Ritz cracker as an example. It's like, hey, it's like you've been starving in a desert, right? And it's like you haven't eaten for days, and someone gives you like a saltine. You're like, oh my god, this is the greatest saltine. Is this a Ritz? This is Ritz. This is a buttery cracker. And so you're so hungry at everything. So I think that's what preseason football is like. You're so hungry for it.
Well, the Raiders are going to be on the HBO Hard Knocks.
Oh.
The Browns turned it down. I guess they were going to offer him another year, and I would have been more interested to see him this year than last year.
Yeah, what's up with AB? Like his feet? He has like blisters. What the hell's going on?
He's still on the not unable to perform, but the DL, whatever you want to call him. He's not there. That's the bottom line. We'll see. They asked Gruden. Gruden's like, I don't know. We'll see. He's not here. I saw Derek Carr just bought a house next to Gruden in Nevada, getting ready to anticipate the move out to Vegas.
Then he gets traded.
So, I don't know, man. It is what it is.
I'm calling it right now. Doesn't matter who's on that team with John Gruden as a coach. They're going to average like 20 points a game. Every John Gruden football team is like 20 points a game.
So you're saying the defense just needs to
Step up, yeah.
yeah.
Which it's not going to happen. So
You don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
Who the hell knows?
if I'm a betting person, I would say
Maybe you are a betting person.
I'm Jewish, man. I don't bet. I don't like losing money.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's tough. It's okay though.
It's okay.
It's okay. I'm cool. I own it.
I'm cool.
I own it. I own it. What can I
Shit.
say?
Well, that means fantasy football's coming up. I know you and I are, Mike and I are big fantasy guys. Phil Murphy is not.
Well, who's the
Lame.
champion?
Lame.
I should have brought my trophy in here for this discussion.
Yes, you won last year in our league. I get it.
We got a big trophy to prove it.
You have a big trophy.
My name is
the
on it.
614 trophy, which is the
All
area
day.
code of C-Bus.
614 all
Yeah.
day.
All day. All
Yeah.
year, actually. Murph, you are not a fantasy football guy.
That's
In
true.
fact, you kind of loathe it.
How do you not like fantasy football?
I just don't like it.
What-
How? But why?
Well,
I don't get
Now,
it.
I have tried.
Too many people.
That's like
are
saying, like, I don't like pussy.
"Oh,
Like,
I gotta
why
play
not? Like, how do you
fantasy
not like it?"
football and I gotta watch these games just because I'm rooting for this guy or that guy. Oh, our stats have to be better because all these people are buying in on fantasy football.
But isn't it like,
That's
when's the
what's-
last time you'd watch Indiana
That's
versus
why they're changing
Jacksonville
the
on a
rules.
Sunday afternoon?
Do you think it like
I'd
kinda-
watch it just to watch it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Do you think it chips away maybe at the purity of the game? So
I
to
think it
speak?
does a
Not-
little
not
bit.
not to sound like
I think it
metaphoric. Yeah. Well,
I watch football just to watch it.
It's like it is kind of funny, like rooting for people you never root for. Like, come on, Jacoby Brissett, why?
Catch the damn ball.
Yeah, come on.
For me though, it does make it more interesting for me because now I will watch a Monday night, game between the Dolphins and the Falcons that I never would have probably watched.
Crap, you would have watched it back in the day, no matter what.
Well, but
I think I went over to your house to watch that exact same game.
I take it back. You're right.
Maybe, but younger though. What else do we have better to do on a Monday night?
But what else do you got to do now?
We're parents, you life.
Now we should look more forward to it than.
Well, what I'm saying
back
is
then.
you watch these games with more interest. I guess that's what it is. Because if you have a running
you got
back,
something involved,
right? That's all.
Yeah. Well, even down to like the plays. I mean, like Mayor Howie won. It was like what's his name? Patrick Lindsay. He needed one run and like he had everything like
I remember
injured
texting
himself.
you about that. You remember that?
He like all he needed was like 3 points and he got injured and kept going in and out. I'm like, oh my god, I might lose this. Then he runs and gets the victor, gets the points that I needed, but then he broke his wrist out the rest of the game.
Yeah, you're like, get him out of there.
That was it. That was all. That's all I needed. Yeah,
you can get negative points.
Exactly.
Like, get him out of
that
the
was
game.
it. So
I'm dubbing him
that's how I
next
won.
week.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
That's how I won.
See, I've tried to explain this to Murph that because we've been trying to get him in our league for a couple of years now, and he just absolutely you will not do it, that's your prerogative. I get it. I tried to explain to him that it was kind of like Madden football when you build your fantasy team.
Yeah.
And at the very beginning, you have the draft, which you're building your brand new team from scratch, your franchise, and you can literally draft anyone you want. And it's kind of like that, but instead of actually playing the game,
it's just on paper.
It would be like if you were to play, if you were to simulate the season after drafting your team. That's basically
let's write it down.
What fantasy football is.
Oh, there's my all Madden team.
Right. Well, there's some money involved, and there is some. We have a friend of the show, Chava, who's on here. Who anytime there is a trade or anything in the league, he will. This is before it became a popular term. He will yell collusion. Collusion.
Of course, it's Chavo.
I think there's still some collusion.
You're back in the conspiracy.
There's more collusion. There's more collusion than meets the eye in Chavo's life.
Chavo and Mike D are on the collusion wagon. Here we go.
Man, I'm just saying.
Just saying.
It's all right. I mean, I'll give a fuck. I'm the champion. So.
You're the champion.
Chavo probably slipped in an extra 20.
You know what?
Dude, collusion, not my ass as a champion.
And Chavo's won it twice too, and he's still. You've won. How many times have you won it? Once?
Yeah. Because I've only been it because I moved back.
You won it once.
Yeah.
Jackie, my wife, has won it twice.
Yeah.
Chavo's won it twice.
Yeah.
And yet you and Chavo, despite 3, championships out of 5 years, still push the collusion conspiracy.
I mean,
in our league.
Maybe there's a. Having that mindset is what it takes to be.
It's
a tough league. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, like I've won a lot of my leagues. Some of the people that I had in Texas, but this is a tough league. I mean, like there's nobody that does not know what the score is. There's no like shitty trades. I mean, people do their homework. So you have to I always say you don't win in your draft. You win in continuing to make your team better in free agency or getting big on a rookie.
I don't make a lot of trades.
Yeah.
I don't. I'll pick up guys in free agency and stuff like that, or I'll get frustrated. I get frustrated with all of them, but you get frustrated. I'm like, fuck this guy.
Well, I think I would have killed everybody if Lamar Hunt didn't beat up some girl and get kicked out of the league because
You mean Kareem Hunt?
Kareem Hunt, yeah.
He was the former owner that died.
Wait a minute. Because when Kareem Hunt
racist.
when Kareem Hunt went out, I mean that was.
Oh wow, he was like what the.
Yeah. Well, I had the all Kansas City team. I had Tariq Hill.
Don't you love when that
Patrick
works out? Somehow, all of a sudden, you draft the entire. I drafted like 2 of the Raiders wide receivers, and I was like, "Why did I just do that?" And I'm like, "You better produce," and they didn't produce. Like son of a bitch.
Well, the only way you win is a lot of times you have to be doubled up with a receiver, and a quarterback. That's the only way because you double up on all of it.
Yeah.
It's a risk, but I mean, it worked out.
Was it 2 years ago when I had Elliott? He did real well for me. Ezekiel Elliott. He's probably one of the top, depending on which league you're in, depending on what kind of points they have.
Yeah.
He's one of the top picks. And
he's going to play this year?
Well, he's in a holdout right now.
Yeah. How do you hold out when you're literally being investigated for like in Dallas? They're saying how they uncovered that. Right? Well, the police covered up how bad. I mean, it's Dallas. That's what happened. Yeah, it's like an Ohio State.
Come on.
Because they can.
It's like how many DUIs have our quarterbacks gotten that no one knows about? It's like, guys,
right.
you
Well,
sweep it underneath
Mike,
the rug.
let's not.
Greg Belisari.
Let's not
Steve
bring it.
Belisari.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Steve
Come
Belisari.
on,
Yeah,
come on,
Steve.
Greg Belisari. Come on.
Forgot. There's two of them.
You guys are terrible.
That was the best thing that ever happened to Ohio State right there.
I think if not this year, next year we're gonna bring Murph aboard the fantasy football.
I think we should.
People asked
What
me
do
at
you
work, and I was like, nah, I'm good.
Nope, you're good.
Yep.
Hey, don't be
Like, why not?
don't be mad about it.
Because I don't want to.
You're like the last holdout.
So what's the deal with Ohio State? They got ranked 5th
They're
at
fifth
preseason.
Fifth preseason.
Coaches
Yeah.
Bowl, right?
Yeah.
I think that's too soon. I think
7 Big Ten teams in the top 25.
Like I used to get really mad that they had the preseason rankings because it played into the end of the year.
Yeah.
Now that they have the playoff, which obviously needs to be expanded to 8
Sucks.
teams, right? Would you
Yeah.
agree with that?
Yeah.
At least 6.
I'm not 6, but then you have buys, and yeah, you're right. At least 6, 8. I would like to see because then the 5 champions from the 5 conferences, major conferences, get in, and then
Plus Notre Dame.
and then Notre Dame, and then they have 3 at-large teams, and I don't care which 3 they are because
Notre Dame.
if you are a champion in one of the 5 power conferences, right? If you're not the champion, or better to say, then you can't complain.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't get one of the 3. Well, you didn't get one of the 3 wild cards. You should have won your.
A.K.A.
you
Alabama
should've won.
last year.
Now, is there any quarterback competition at all, or is it still by far and away? Because what's his name transferred, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
went down to
Both of our backups transferred.
Yeah.
LSU.
But then who else did we get though?
We got
Who transferred in?
from
Oh yeah,
Georgia.
Yeah.
Is that the guy?
yeah. Because he was he couldn't get to starting position, and
Yeah.
but why did he transfer to a place where there's already an entrenched?
Because somebody somewhere has told him.
He
Listen,
could beat him out.
right. It's all about opportunity, meets preparation. You think you're better than this guy here. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. Maybe a coach is telling you something. I don't know. I think that in this day and age, I don't like the transfer portal.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand why they have it, but I'm not a huge fan.
They're just taking advantage of it too much these
Oh,
Well,
days.
there's too many transfers. I saw where that old quarterback from Florida State is transferring to Hampton.
Hampton?
Well, he's gotten into some
Like
trouble.
community college.
Who's that? Francois?
Like East
yeah,
Hampton,
Francois. He
Francois.
got into some trouble at Florida State,
Fucking French.
and so he's going to Hampton,
Sorry,
which is
can I
funny
say
because
Fucking racist.
you guys keep talking about racism. What is going on today? Oh boy, people tune into this show to get away from that nonsense. We talk about sports, we talk about movies, we talk about,
What do you mean, some people?
oh boy, some Americans, maybe some Canadians. I think we're huge in the Northwest market, the Yukon territory.
We're big there.
Yukon Valley.
We're really big there.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I put some money into the Yukon. It's untapped. What else are they gonna do? Dig for gold and listen to our shows.
Well, up in Regina, I'm huge. This is true.
Really?
I love Regina.
I know.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, God.
So speaking of movies, I saw the trailer this week. I don't know if you guys, saw The Irishman.
Oh, fuck! It looks so awesome.
Martin Scorsese.
Good
He's
set.
back directing. He's got Joe Pesci's out of retirement.
What's
they
it
got-
about?
So it's about Jimmy Hoffa, right?
Well, Jimmy Hoffa plays
And the
a
Teamster
part of it.
unions
Yeah,
and all that.
He plays a role. Jimmy Hoffa, who is played by, I believe, Al Pacino. And they have Robert De Niro's in it. Joe Pesci's
it's
in
all
it.
the Irish Mafia, right?
Yeah, the
big
Irish
part, yeah.
Mafia. It plays a lot with Jimmy Hoffa, who was, the union president back in the day, who disappeared without a trace. Just
I never realized that the Irish Mafia, up until probably some of the last Scorsese flick. Damn it, with Matt Damon and
Leo DiCaprio.
Yeah,
The Departed.
Departed, and
Oh,
then
fantastic.
Black
Damn,
Mass
good.
with Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I still haven't seen Black Mass.
I did not realize how ruthless the Irish Mafia, and it makes sense because my grandpa was juiced into the Mafia, and he was Irish, and I didn't realize. I was like, I can't believe the Italians. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize the Italians and the Irish Mafia all worked hand in hand with each
Well,
other.
you know why the Irish are so upset? Because all they ever got to eat was potatoes. Just pissed off.
Potato
Nothing.
famine.
I got crickets on that one. I'm Irish, by the
I
way.
had to think
so
back to.
you
I was like,
can't
wasn't
get
that?
mad
I was like,
at me.
wasn't that Russian? I was like, oh no, that was the Irish potato famine. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It looks
geez.
awesome though. I mean, it. I don't know what it is about a good mafia flick.
Well, I think a
don't
lot
know.
of it, and I think Murph, might agree, is because it's a true story.
I like based on true stories.
Anything that's a true story, just about anything that's a true story, that makes it to the big screen is generally pretty interesting because no matter how outrageous things get or no matter what the storyline is, you're like, yeah, but this actually happened.
Yep.
So if this guy did this or this person did that, yeah, but this kind of actually happened. So
Porky's.
Porky. Yeah, it was a biography of our, what? Porky's. Yeah, like what? All the way up to Porky's 4, it was like Porky's Revenge.
I remember.
He's back.
I remember some of them, man.
He's
I think
back.
they're so. Yeah, but it's just interesting because like there's a lot of like true, movies out there. But because I mean, if you were to ask, like, hey, what are your favorite movies? Like Goodfellas, Casino,
Right.
I mean, like some of my most favorite movies are all mafia.
Well, Scorsese, I mean, he's a hell of a director.
Scorsese is freaking awesome.
I know.
Dude literally makes. I mean, all my favorite movies are pretty much Scorsese movies.
Well, I mean, you look at like a movie that's like completely not based in truth. That's like completely, fiction, like Shutter Island. Have you ever seen
that? Was an awesome movie.
Yeah.
Murph, you ever
I've
seen
seen that. Nope.
Dude, awesome.
I would recommend
awesome
you
movie.
check that out. That's actually
What is it?
It's called
Shutter
Shutter
Island,
Island.
Oh, okay.
And it's not a scary movie, but it's definitely not like Scorsese. Like but it's got
I've never seen any of those. So.
it's got Leonardo DiCaprio. It's actually a good kind of
It's
thriller
awesome.
movie.
Yeah, it really is really good. Yeah.
But it's one of those movies. It's almost like the movie Seven, where you watch it once and then you see the ending and you're like, it's a great movie, but like when you watch it again, it's almost ruined because you know that there's kind of a spoiler alert. It's been out there for 15 years, but there's like a twist.
There's
kind
a
of
twist,
ending, and you just know, like, okay, you know what's coming. So you're like, oh, it's good, but you can kind of almost only watch it once.
Well, I like when those directors, like Steven Soderbergh did, like all the Ocean's movie, but then one of his last ones was Contagion, what it was almost kind of like about like a virus that gets out, and was like totally not like Soderbergh, but yet you can tell it's a Soderbergh movie, this cinematography or whatever, and it's cool. And you see these directors kind of go in a completely different direction with something, and it has elements that it's their movie, but it's totally not at all what they like to do. So that's life, though, man. I think life, if you can step out of your comfort zone and do something really good, I think that just like in racing, you see where a lot of these guys will, like Travis Pastrana tried doing NASCAR. Mario Andretti won the Indy 500, the Daytona 500, won an IndyCar championship. He won a Formula One. It's like you get these guys where it's like, dude, like they're badasses and doing.
That's a hell of a driver.
Fernando Alonso's 2 World Formula One championships, 1 Le Mans. It's like almost 1 Indy.
Was he the greatest racer of all time?
Mario Andretti?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the guy won in
and I mean, I'm not even a race
did.
fan, and I think he's...
Yeah, he's still driving. He's still taking it around. I mean, literally, he is hands down the best, one of the best, I think, of all time. Yeah.
Who else would you think is up there in that,
Ooh,
conversation?
I mean, gosh. I mean, you got to start going with, like, some of the old school, like Ayrton Senna. I mean, of the modern era. It's tough to compare because the eras were so different in their cars, but Ayrton Senna... I mean, there's a story. This is actually a really cool story. There's a lot with Ayrton Senna in Formula One where, he kind of felt like he's being screwed over by the team. And when he was driving with McLaren, so they were sponsored by Marlboro at the time, and he was so angry at McLaren and just like the team wasn't doing hot, and so he wanted to take a year break, or at least he was using that as an example. And so he wanted to. Penske, because they were both sponsored by Marlboro, goes, hey, come and race with us, right? So they went out and did the secret test, right? So it's really cool. It was at the time where it was like the mega team. It was like Rick Mears, Alan Sir Jr., and Paul Tracy, and Emerson Fittipaldi were all there, right? And so there's this picture of Ayrton Senna in the car, and these mega, I mean, Rick Mears, 4-time Indy 500 winner, right? Emerson Fittipaldi, and Paul Tracy are all like staring down, watching Ayrton Senna in their car, and so he got into the car. Literally, he's never tested this car ever, never driven. I mean, and Formula One and IndyCar are radically different at the time. I mean, how they shifted, power steering, and whatever. And he, within 3 laps, he got to the same speed as all those other guys. Never drove the car in 3 laps. They did a documentary on it. They show the lap times.
Wow.
So,
Jeez.
yeah, I mean, so that to me is anything in life. Just like I'm a clinician doing podcasting, right? You step out of your comfort zone. Murph, I mean, it's like these are all things that none of us ever really did, but we had the balls to step out of our comfort zone and do something and try it. And, I mean, I think we do pretty good. I mean people listen, so.
It works.
What do you think, Murph? Yeah. I mean, someone to tell us we're wrong? Great.
I mean, think Bo Jackson.
I never claimed to be correct. So, are you going to tell me I'm
I
wrong?
mean, think about like
I'm a
I mean,
three-way
Bo
sports
Jackson,
player.
badass. I mean, badass in football and baseball,
Yeah.
right? Deion Sanders.
Oh, Dion.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's pretty fucking amazing.
Bo, who's a better athlete, Dion or Bo?
Bo.
Bo, yeah.
You think so?
Yeah. Well, Bo was like a superstar in
Well,
both.
it's like 1 and 1A. Like they're
That's
both
fair.
badass. I mean, just badass athletes.
It's tough to tell with Bo because I guess he got injured, so you don't really know. I mean,
Right.
shattered his hip. I mean,
I don't
in a
think
playoff.
anybody's
Yeah.
catching Dion from behind.
Nobody. not a soul on this planet.
Didn't he say he can still run like a 4.3, 4.4 40 or something
Well,
like
when
that?
he-
That's like Joey Galloway can
Yeah.
still run like a 4.2 or 4.3.
Oh my gosh.
Not a 4.2.
Look at Ted Ginn.
But
Yeah.
Ted Ginn still. That dude is
The
fast.
thing, Deshaun Jackson can still run a 4.3 40.
Oh man, I don't think at my best. I don't think I'd drive that fast. I don't
It's
know.
fucking quick, man.
What do
It's amazing though, because like at that age, some of these guys, and it's like
Well,
I run, I get a hamstring pulling.
I was just gonna say at that age, Tom Brady. We touched on it earlier. 2-year extension signed this week.
Yeah,
it's too easy to play QB in the NFL these days.
You can't even look at him wrong without getting a flag. So
You're afraid to tackle.
he signed. He's got a 2-year extension to what? He's 42. Getting like 19.
he's 42 now. Yeah, so 44.
He's getting like $19 million this year.
I think he's gonna have a big drop off this year. You saw
That's
it.
what
everybody
yeah,
says.
it's gonna
I
be
thought that
big.
last year.
Everybody says that.
But you saw it though in a playoff. That was the first time that he got totally shut down in a football game.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, you might be right. I mean, we'll have to see. I mean,
there's going to have to be with him. It's not going to be a steady. It's going to be like it's there, then it's not.
yeah,
And I think that's what's going to
it's
happen.
there, then it's not.
Yeah,
The thing is, though, about that is that he has such a great team behind him, and he has
a great
consistently,
coach.
and it consistently, year after year.
No Gronk.
How many decades now? I remember watching the 2001, 2000. When was the Nipple Bowl? Janet Jackson.
Oh,
I have in
watched-
the compound.
I watched that at your house.
Compound,
Phil.
wasn't it?
oh,
I watched it at Murphy's house.
03, because I was in grad school.
No, that
02,
was
03.
that was another apartment you were at.
It was a little bit after I
Because
moved.
Bradford Court.
we maybe we turned that halftime show off to watch something else, another halftime show. Turned it back on and was like, "What did we miss?" Because this
Yeah.
was before social media.
Yep.
This was before the way it got now, and we missed it. We're like, "What do you mean?" Because no one wanted to watch Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake at halftime. No,
Lame.
You couldn't.
I don't think I ever watched it.
You couldn't give me a ticket to go see that concert, especially
fuck
back
no.
then.
No.
We turned to some other. Watch the alternate Super Bowl halftime show.
It was like the Bud
Entree
Bowl.
Ball.
Or
Oh,
Like
Bud Bowl,
the
yeah.
Jackass
The Bud Bowl.
halftime, yeah, the Jackass halftime
Yep.
show on MTV. We probably, that's something we totally would have watched.
Yep.
Or we
And,
just go out into the garage and do like keg stands or something.
yeah, that's
You know?
a distinct possibility
Yeah.
as well. But we missed it. Didn't know that 17, 18 years later that Tom Brady would still be leading his team into deeper into the playoffs to the Super Bowl.
Not this year though. They ain't gonna make Super Bowl this year. I'm telling you.
No, not gonna happen.
right now,
It's a
man.
bold statement,
Who in
too.
the AFC is going to take him? Or
Chiefs,
or maybe it's nobody in particular.
Jets.
The Chiefs. Can the Chiefs keep all their people like not suspended?
No. That's Andy Reid's team. There ain't no way no.
Oh shit.
Yeah. But we'll find out though.
One more thing I want to touch on before we jet out of here this week is this week the pro wrestling world lost a legend, Harley Race, the 8-time NWA champion.
8-time.
I believe it was 8 times. He's the old school wrestler for those folks that don't know him, maybe a little before your time, before the Hulk Hogan's and the NWO and Steve Austin. Harley was a champion back in the 70s and 80s in the NWA. Back during a time when wrestling still took itself very seriously, and he was considered to be a legitimate sport. So, there was a lot of double crossing going on back then. So, when they decided on who the champion would be, it had to be a legitimate tough guy. So, in case someone decided to try to kind of double cross him, you had your predetermined finishes.
Right.
Hey, you're going to go over tonight with the figure 4, and this guy's going to tap out. Oh, okay, but then you might have a guy, your opponent, who's not going to do any business the right way. He's going to say, you know what? Maybe I beat you and I take the title. Because once I beat you, what are they going to do? Not give me the title?
HBK.
Exactly.
Brett screwed Brett.
That's exactly right.
Brett screwed Brett.
So, especially back in the day, you had to make your champion a legitimate tough guy in case someone tried to get a little, crazy with you in the ring. And Harley was that guy. Harley was a guy that, according, I was kind of reading up on him. He passed this week from lung cancer. a heavy smoker, and
He's still made it in his 80s. That's pretty amazing.
yeah, he was
Yeah,
70,
no shit.
76, I think he was. He had terminal cancer for a little while now, but you know, he's one of those guys that everybody respected in the locker room. But he was also a stand-up guy outside of the ring as well, is my understanding. And so I was reading up a little bit on him, and there was a couple of Harley Race stories, and one of them was that, according to legend, was he had the double tendon strength in his hands. You've heard about this on certain guys before, where you have your strength in your hands, but he had the double tendon strength, which means he could.
That'd be a wicked mandible claw.
Well, they said the handshake. He guys would challenge him in the handshake. Friends of his, strangers would hear about him. Test the strength of the handshake. They said he never would lose. He would grip it until someone said "uncle."
Really?
It was an old school thing.
Wow.
He was said to be one of the few guys that Andre the Giant legitimately kind of not feared.
Yeah.
So I don't know that the Giant feared anybody, but he was one of the
Respected.
one of the few guys where the Giant was like, "Hey, I need to be cool with this guy." The other one was Haku. Remember Haku?
Oh yeah.
Haku, I heard even beyond Harley and Andre was the toughest guy. He was the guy, the number one. They said who was the toughest of all time. This one guy gave an interview, was like, "Could Lesnar take Haku in a fight?" And he goes, "I don't know." I'm like, "What do you mean you don't know?" He's like, "Haku's crazy." He goes, "I saw a guy he pulled a guy's eyeball out once and stomped on the ground because the guy fucked with him."
Dude, there was a lot. You watch like the
crazy Samoans. He don't care. He don't care.
Was it Beyond the Ring or that
Why
show?
don't you ever hear about that shit?
Yeah, well, you do. Like, apparently, it's like a lot of them had they had to be crazy on the air and off.
That's why back in the day, because again, some guys would double cross. But nowadays, everyone knows that the fix is
Chris
in.
Benoit.
Yeah, everyone knows the fix is in.
Benoit.
Everyone knows that it's it's kind of it's a work. It's it's broadcast TV. But back in the day, it was like, "Oh no, it's legit." And if you don't think it is, well, this guy here will literally take your eye out.
They'll fuck you up.
That's kind of what it was. So you had to be tough back then. Nowadays, I could be champion if they wanted me to, and I still like it. But anyway, Harley passed, this week, and he was a legend. So we'll miss him, and it's just one more link to your childhood. Just kind of goes. Anytime you hear about an old school sports guy that passed away, even though they lived a long, life, it just kind of, I don't know. Maybe it's getting older. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely me. I think there's certain things that we look at where it's like that, like, oh wow, I'm getting kind of older. Whether it be a movie star, whether it be an athlete. I think even sometimes the juxtaposition of when you're growing up, it's like, if someone did something kind of bad, you almost automatically assumed like, oh, well, of course they got arrested, right? Now it's like,
of course he did.
Yeah, now it's like it's a little bit different, It's yeah, I do. It's just tough getting older, just because there's like these little moments or these little things that just kind of remind you of, wow, like we are getting older.
Well, like personally attached.
Well, I was going to say, Murph.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
You're personally attached to that figure.
Yeah, I mean, imagine it, Murph, when you hear that somewhere down the line that Joe Montana has passed.
Yeah,
that's going to be like,
oh, dude, yeah. I mean,
and even if he's 90 years old and you knew it was coming, you're still going to be like, damn,
wow,
he's gone. There goes Joe Montana. Same thing with you, with Darryl Strawberry, Doc Gooden. Although those guys might be together, they might be.
It's more surprising that you're still alive.
Well, they might be, on the bad part of town buying some, but that's a different story, right? So,
it's. I mean, growing up though, I mean, it's a lot of our sports. They anchored us to like our childhood. I mean, if you were to ask, like, what are the biggest memories you have of growing up? And I mean, the majority of them are going to be like our sports teams or the players at the time, or the video games that we played. I mean, it's kind of why we do the show. It's this whole idea of this is what we've always done kind of growing up, and it's just and the sports change, things do, and just it's
agreed.
Yeah, man.
It is what it is. Not to end on a somber note there. This is actually a good thing. So
it is a good thing. It makes us appreciate, I think, what we do have, and just being more mindful and present of everything.
If you get a chance, go out and check out some of Harley Race's old school shit. He overcame polio as a kid.
Polio?
Who does that? He does.
Polio's acting up lately.
I know. He's like, is that it? That's all you got? Damn. Back in the day, no one got over polio.
Forrest Gump.
Oh, Forrest. Love me some Forrest.
Oh, Lord.
Well, guys, I think on that note, we're going to go ahead and we're going to call it a day here.
We're going to call it a day? All right,
Murph,
let's do it.
Murph, what say you? That it? All you got?
Yeah.
That's it.
Anybody see the Reds Pittsburgh fight?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
was great.
dude, that was
How
awesome.
they immediately trade him right before
Yeah.
that. He was pissed.
We should talk about
Wait.
that next week. The best brawls of all time.
Let's do it.
I think we should, dude.
All
I
right.
got some good ones.
That's
man.
some homework. We're going to
All
find
right,
some
all
of the
right,
best
that's next
brawls.
week.
And next episode, we're going to cover the greatest sports brawls of all time.
I love it. Yeah.
For myself, Bill Reed, I am with America's Counselor, Mike Devine. You can follow him on Gray Matters Radio. And I have the excellence of execution, Murph over
What
here.
up? What up?
Yeah.
I like that.
No.
He is what he is. Until next time, America, you'll take it easy. Peace.
Peace.